you're out there, you're riding, you're having a good time, and taking in the outdoors.
The fight isn't over. The fight is just beginning.
What's going on, guys? This is Carl with the RacerRed channel. Here I am doing the start, and my bike wouldn't start up. Didn't help that I was getting on my bike like a fat kid. I just wasn't in that much of a hurry, and my plan was just to start hitting the button right away, but the button wasn't working. I don't know what the deal is with my bike, but it seems like during races it just never starts right up. If I'm out riding, it'll start right when I push the button, but every single race so far it has not wanted to start. You can see too that I was rolling on the gas there trying to get it to start, trying to work it over a little bit, but it was just not happening. 3,000 subscribers as of today. That's pretty awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. It's been a pretty awesome journey, and I will keep uploading to YouTube just so long as I'm riding. I should be doing a ton of races this year, a lot more content. I'm doing the van build on my ambulance, so that's been turning out really good. I've got some new updates on that. And I'm just going to be doing a lot of racing and a lot of riding and a lot of filming in 2021. So I'm pretty excited. The content should be pretty sweet. You guys probably noticed that I have less sponsors this year, which sometimes less is more. I just wanted to kind of cut back as much as I could this year. That way I'm not restricted as far as what I use or what I say or anything like that. I'm already kind of pushing it. I've got a few videos that I have to make, and so I just wanted to be able to make content however I chose. You can see here things are getting pretty sketchy, getting through all the traffic, and it's pretty tough getting through this ice. My rear tire didn't have hardly any studs whatsoever, so I was in the same boat as all these guys right here. I mean, it's really icy. You can see that just by how everybody's bikes are responding. It was a pretty sketchy section. It was pretty tough. It's totally understandable why a lot of people would have issues right here in this section. Once I lost momentum, and I had to avoid that other rider because he went flying sideways, but once I avoided him, I had to turn sideways, and it kind of wrecked my center of gravity, and it made me slide sideways as well. There's another rider down. So a lot of riders went down right there. Tons of chaos. And this whole section right here is ice. Really sketchy. And a lot of this course was really sketchy. In fact, this section right here with this kind of single track, it was complete ice right here. So I really did not like stopping at any point because a lot of guys are running lots of studs on their rear tires, but I actually ran out of studs, so I got my front tire pretty good. It was tracking okay, but the rear tire just was pretty bare, and the knobs suck on my rear tire too, which that's not an excuse at all. That's definitely just part of setting up and part of racing. If I make an error in my preparation for the race and it slows me down, then that's just as valuable as being crappy inside the race. So it's all part of, there's no separation between getting ready for the race and actually being in the race. It's all one event. So yeah, that was my bad. I should have prepped a little bit better and had more studs in my tires. Should have got some more before this race. This uphill section right here was completely muddy, but not only that, there was ice right underneath all of this mud. So if you didn't keep your momentum through here, it was just bad news bears. You'd start sliding all over the place. But there is so much mud getting thrown at me right here. I thought for sure that my camera was completely covered. This guy on the Honda 150, I think it is, was really tossing mud my way. And you'll see him show up throughout the video. It's kind of a funny thing. I kept running into him. I don't know how it was happening. I think he was cutting big old sections of the course because it seemed like I would pass him and then he would show up randomly again. It's pretty funny. But passing and getting close to other riders is really part of the fun of racing, and this race was just for fun. There's no points or anything like that. It's just a bunch of riders showing up and racing. It's very unofficial. But this was just a ton of fun. Well, there's a couple riders that missed the turn right there, and this guy looked like he cracked his nuts pretty hard right there. But yeah, it is frustrating. A lot of people mentioned that it looked frustrating for me to be behind a lot of these people, and it was, but it's my bad. I should have gotten a better start, and my bike wouldn't start, but also I could have gotten on my bike way faster. I was looking at a video that my brother took, and it took me forever to get on the bike. So I really didn't have... I just didn't push it as far as speed getting on the bike or anything. And then, of course, when I got on the bike, it wouldn't start too. But this little 150 is actually going pretty good. He had studs in every single knob, I noticed when I was behind him. You can see all those white dots. Those are all studs. He was hooking up really good. However, he was really holding me up, and he continues to hold me up. It'll kind of get comical throughout this whole video because I run into that dude a lot. I would pass him and then he would just reappear. So going up the mud hill here, the mud was almost sketchier than the ice and snow because my front tire would track okay in the ice and snow, but once I got into the mud, it was just a slip and slide. I was flying all over the place. But I think this is the first section of track that actually got an open area where I could actually ride at full speed and actually get some power to the ground. Right by that telephone pole right there, down this section, which was pretty sketchy. Actually, I remember that specific section right there. The first time I went by it, I almost went right into that crack at full speed. The pucker factor was pretty high just for a split second there. But this little section right here, I tried to stay on the course until I saw other riders were just cutting it. So a lot of times in these races, if you see a lot of tracks going off course or just going straight, you have to follow the track. The course markings aren't always too relevant when you're in a race. They're close, but they aren't always exactly where people are going, and sometimes you have to just follow where the tracks are, otherwise you'll get left behind. This section was pretty fun. It wasn't too bad as far as traction, but this sweeping corner right here really concerned me every single lap. This is all frozen right here. So I was very cautious through that sweeper, and then I got on the gas usually right up until the next corner where I could straighten out, but lots of ice and snow. It's definitely a different dynamic racing in this kind of environment for sure. I got my cardio checked out, or I got my heart checked out before this race, which is definitely a good thing to do. I got an ecocardiogram and I'm wearing a heart monitor. I was wearing the heart monitor during this race, and it ended up getting so saturated and wet that it fell off this night. But that's definitely a good thing to do, get your heart checked out if you're in this sport, because your heart rate just skyrockets when you're racing. So I highly recommend doing it. My doctor was pretty annoyed that I was even doing it. He asked, what my symptoms were and all that stuff, and he just seemed really annoyed. And regardless, you should just do it. I wasn't experiencing many symptoms. I was just experiencing fatigue in certain situations, and a lot of that went away once I started sleeping at night. Once I started sleeping at night, my cardio was just way better. It really helped me out, and my energy level just in general. But yeah, I've known people that are really young who passed away due to a heart condition that they didn't know about. And in this sport, your heart rate just jumps. It just skyrockets. And it stays way up there. So yeah, I highly recommend getting it checked out. I really wanted to get mine checked out. So I have done stuff in the past that just physical exercise that was beyond normal, and so it was to the point where I thought it may have caused heart damage, so I just wanted to get checked out. Now that I know I'm cleared, I'll just, it'll probably be a long time before I do it again, but it's definitely a good thing to do if you've never done it.
I could totally pit maneuver this guy right now.
But yeah, this traffic does get pretty frustrating. There's a lot of single track through here. People are just pedaling and pedaling. And like I said, my rear tire is basically just a regular tire that didn't have enough studs to really do much. Right here, I passed this guy, and so I decided to let him by. But if you notice, it's a different guy that passes me back. I didn't even know that until I was re-watching this video. So apparently that guy just stayed back there. He didn't start going again, and then I got passed by some other dude. But I ended up passing that guy again. Kind of annoying to let some random person by, though. You can tell I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated. I mean, I love racing, and frustration is just part of it. You have to get by people, and a lot of it's single track, so a lot of times when you're passing, that's what makes it so tough, is picking a worse line. There I slid out, my rear wheel just started going, and there was no stopping it, so I did a 180, and I can't get going again. I'm on ice right here, so it took me forever. You can see my skid mark right there. So I just did a 360 back onto course, and I let 3 people by me who were lappers. All 3 of these guys were lappers, I think. There's this guy again. This is one of the sections where I see him again. Looks like he went off the course a little bit. Off through the sagebrush. So yeah, that is one of the tough sections on this course, and it's a tough thing to race in these races where there's single track and you're riding a course like this where it's pretty tight, because in order to pass people you have to take a really bad line in a lot of cases. So that means you have to go fast enough to pass a person, which is 30 feet or so of course. You have to make that difference up on sections of course that are not desirable. So that's the tough thing about it. You have to go much faster than the person in front of you on a line that usually isn't as good as their line. So as the day went on, this uphill section got a lot muddier and a lot slicker. And I noticed I was getting a little bit of fatigue in my left hand, although my fatigue this year is much improved. My cardio is much improved. I think that's just because I'm not really working any harder up to this point, but I think that's just because of my sleep. Tried to wipe my camera a few times for you guys just to make it to where you could at least see something. The only thing that I have to gauge off of is what I can see through my goggles. So if my goggles are all covered, then that's a pretty good indicator. I need to wipe my lens. Here, this guy passes me again on the Honda 150, and I was like completely exhausted with him getting in front of me at this point of the race. There's a couple riders that we passed right here, and then going up this ravine, he'll actually fall over.
Yep.
But after I get by him, I think it's actually the next lap. I'm doing a lot of cuts in the video right here. Yeah, this is the next lap. But I end up hitting a sagebrush and it shoots me sideways, and then I land on... All this ground is pretty much frozen, so you can't land sideways and recover very easily. So if you land sideways, you're just going to slide all the way out, and that's what happened here. And I just kind of flopped back on the bike and went down this ravine a little bit out of control at first. Here's Kamo. He's passing me. He's an ISDE gold medalist.
I'm right behind him.
Pretty quick rider. And I was not right behind him. I was just joking about being right behind him. He's super fast. It was definitely cool to get to ride behind him for a little bit. See some of the lines he was picking up. And he was having to pass people just like I was at this point of the race. He had to pass a lot of traffic just like I did. Off through the sagebrush, just bouncing around all over the place, trying to regain traction and shift. That's probably one of the toughest things about going through these really rough sections is maintaining your ability to not only get traction, but then you have to shift and use the clutch. It's hard to find the shifter when you're bouncing around. Well, at least it is for me. When I'm bouncing around through the sagebrush, it's really hard to upshift or downshift. Precisely, anyway. Through this sketchy corner. And one of these, I start to slide sideways in the rear. Like I said, my front track's pretty good, but if I got on the power, my rear tire would just start sliding out from under me. A lot of ice and snow right here. I made a little mistake and almost high-sided. And then this is one of my favorite sections, getting onto the sand, because it was all kind of loosened up and you could actually catch pretty good traction in here. This uphill section got nice and slimy and harder and harder throughout the day. Pretty tough to make passes up through here, but if you have your momentum, it helped quite a bit. But if you tried to make a pass without having your momentum, it would have been pretty difficult with all the mud and stuff like that, trying to get up onto the side of that hill. Here I'm getting all out of control, then I slide sideways and trying to get control of the clutch. At this point of the race, this is like the last part of the race, and I'm really tired with the clutch hand. And there I'm getting really frustrated and just yelling. I actually have something on order that I'm really excited about. I haven't been this excited about a part for a long time. So I'll make a video about it later on and tell you guys if it makes a big difference. Look at that guy, such a supporter. This random guy giving me the thumbs up. It's always nice to get some support when you're out racing. Yeah, super fun course, really fun time. Guys did a good job of setting it up and giving us some cool variety on the course. It's pretty awesome. And by about the halfway mark, I think I had like this Rambo bandana streamer, that yellow one right there. That was definitely looking like Rambo, so I might keep that.
It was given to me.
I'll probably keep that and
Rambo, so
put it on for my next race. It's my good luck bandana. Anyways, guys, I hope to catch you on the next video. Peace.